So back on the hoof, actually up above a quarry, Winskill Stones, I think this area is called. Loads of limestone, and then little gnarly trees poking out of the limestone. So again, not much light going on. So as I quite often do, no big camera with me. Sometimes that comes to bite you in the ass, but no big camera with me. Instead, we'll be potentially sketching some ideas with the iPhone. Now, we're only here until Sunday. So while I say sketching, I'm not sure I'll get back up to do anything with it, but this is typically what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. You know, it's only if I know that I'm going to be out for a very long time do I potentially take the big camera, and instead it's just looking around, because all of this, a bit like if you're training for a marathon, you know, any type of exercise, even if it's not running or doing one of your big long runs, is training for that marathon. So this is training my eye. Apparently my destination is on the right. So so yeah, just out with the iPhone. Pretty dull, damp conditions, but we'll see what we can see. So the weather turned a bit gnarly there. So I actually decamped. You're probably all calling wimp at the screen now, but decamped back to the van just for a moment. So there's potentially some nice composition over there. Again, not today. Just no conditions for it. You know, I don't even think we're going to get a second of light. But just having those lovely lime rocks really sort of leading over tree, that really gnarly sort of bent over tree, and then of course the views right the way across the dales. But again, no light, but again just playing around a little bit with the iPhone, just seeing what works. But right now, waiting for this squall to pass. Well, good morning, Friday morning. And actually one of the big challenges, as you can imagine, of travelling in a van as a photographer, is power. Now, not necessarily power when you're driving. I have an inverter that allows me to charge my camera batteries, my various bits and pieces, which is good, and I just have a bit of a system. But over the next couple of days, we're going to be relatively stationary. And while I have a 12-volt charger for my MacBook, which works well, I don't like to hammer the batteries too hard, the batteries of the van, that is. So I have a little kind of charging station that I stick in my bag, and hopefully today I'll get into a library or somewhere that I can plug in my 4-way and leech some free power. Camera batteries, drone batteries, GoPro batteries, just anything that needs charging gets charged. So that's today's plan. I didn't record anything last night, but we made a very impromptu trip up on one of the moors where barn owls were flying, and we had some fantastic views. Now, I obviously used to be a sports photographer, that was my job, and while I was doing the sports photography, I loved doing a bit of wildlife photography as well. Now, I haven't shot a moving creature with a camera or with a gun or anything for quite some time, and it was quite interesting, sort of, you know, like a nice landscape that stays nice and stationary. You know, that foreground rock that doesn't move. The owl was all over the place, but it actually came and sat, you know, no more than about 20 foot away. Sadly, the best of the light had disappeared, but that was good fun. So yeah, so today's really a charging day, and that's really it. That's the fun times that you have on the road as a photographer. Catch up in a bit. So good afternoon, welcome back. So in the van, Saturday afternoon. I've spoken about this before a few times on the vlog, my other job. So I actually, back in the day, used to shoot for a company called Action Plus Sports Images Photography, covering a lot of the Premiership football, amongst other things, in the sort of London area. Since moving back to Ireland, I kind of stepped away from frontline photography and I'm now involved in managing the operational side of things with the agency, as well as doing the picture desk stuff. So to cut a long story short, picture desk stuff is today we have 12 events going on, ranging from Premiership football right the way through to La Liga, Serie A, the Rugby Challenge Cup final, amongst other things, Formula 1 in Belgium, and MotoGP. So we've got all these guys and girls out there doing photography, and of course they're wiring the images live in to our desk. And then it's, even though we're asking the photographers themselves to do the sort of edits and the captioning, it's coming into the desk. We're then making any final tweaks to those images and hopefully getting them out on the wire to the newspapers and to other agents as soon as possible. So while I'm on the road, most of the week I'm doing the operational side of things, which is bookings and things like that. And then on a Saturday and Sunday, when we have a lot of events going on, especially a Saturday, I'm locked in here on the desk, just basically wiring off images to the various agencies, and of course making sure that our best ones get out there as soon as possible. So that's basically what I'm doing today. So it's been quite nice light as well today, and this quite often happens on a Saturday when I'm just stuck in here, but it's still photography related. And while I sometimes get a bit I wish I was out there kind of taking images, sporting wise, I love being involved in something that's still imagery perspective, so it just keeps the mind ticking over in terms of composition. And we've got some fantastic photographers on our team who are continuously throwing in some really good images, some of which you probably will be looking at over your morning coffee. Right, I better get back into it, because Wolves against Manchester City has just hit half time, so I expect an influx of images from our guy. And if there's no influx of images, I'll give him a call and tell him, oi oi, what's up?